We are back at the Exponential Files. You can find us on Spotify and iTunes and theexponentialfiles.com. Today, and I'm Jim Lowenstern, your host. Today, I have a very special guest, Elizabeth Riley. She's with EXP Realty, as all my guests have been. And Elizabeth, welcome to the show. And I'm going to jump right in with some questions.
Awesome.
Um,
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
yeah. How many? So you're an icon agent. How many times so far?
So I am the only icon with eight. I have eight icons. I'm actually on my way to number nine right now.
Okay. So in workplace, I think it says seven. You have to change that.
I
And
know, yeah, it's got my eight because I just got it, but I'm already like I capped really quick and I'm almost to nine. So yeah, I'll definitely make sure that's changed.
so for anyone in the audience I mean, EXP agents know what all that means, but anyone in the audience who doesn't know what that means, capping means you've done 80,000 in GCI, gross commission income, every year. Then you've done another 20 transactions, or you've done 500,000 GCI with 10 transactions after capping. So, how do you do? Do you do it the easy way or the hard way?
I don't, I guess it just depends on how you run your business. I don't think I love what I do. And so for me, it's easy because it's relationships. My business is 100% referral. I'm all sphere based, an agent to agent referral. And so I've just built my business over the years, just loving on the relationships because I truly believe that if I build the relationships and I earn the relationships, then I'm going to earn the business. And so that's how I've built my business over the last 18 years.
All sales, or you do rentals also?
I do. I work with a lot of investors, mostly sales. I'm primarily a listing agent. I do work with buyers, but again, you just never know where your business is going to come from, and I'm always honored when I have referrals. So I work with a number of investors, and usually we'll do some of the leasing for them, but that's not really what my focus is.
So with investors, what kind of properties are you hooking them up with?
It depends on their investment strategy. I'm residential. I don't do commercial at all. I just don't have a passion for commercial. A lot of mine are looking to buy whether it's single family in some of the outskirts that are appreciating or multifamily and duplexes and triplexes. It just depends on what they're looking for to add to their portfolio. So primarily single family and duplexes are what they're adding right now, but it really depends on what they're looking for.
And are they selling also, or just mainly acquiring and leasing out and holding for the long term?
I have some of them that are selling. They're doing 1031 exchanges. Some of them are buying in different areas or upsizing, or it just really depends on what they need. And then they could just call me and we'll identify the properties if it's a 1031. A lot of them are in the Austin. I'm in the Austin area and the market is, continuing to increase and equity continues to increase. And so a lot of eyeballs here just with companies and technology and people moving here all the time. So a lot of my investors are buying and holding long term. But some of them will sell and then buy something else with a 1031.
So the Austin market for brokers should be pretty interesting. So Keller Williams began in the Austin market.
Yes.
Did you ever work for KW?
Actually, I was with Keller Williams for 10 years. I got started in real estate with Keller Williams in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia. And then my husband was transferred to Austin in 2008. So I started my real estate career in Texas in 2008 with Keller Williams. And I loved Keller Williams. It was a great company for what I needed at that point. And I was there for 10 years and then came over to EXP 8 years ago.
Okay. All right. So do you like EXP? And if you do,
Relationships, if you think about it, as we've grown, I've been able to be in relationship with people all over the country that are doing bigger things than me. And I was a big fish where I was before, and now I get to be a smaller fish and I get to grow and learn. And because we're all owners, we all open our playbook and we all celebrate in each other's success. So we're all winning together, and that just changes the game, and it changes the culture and the environment.
yeah, I have some sound bites that I've kind of organically picked up on my own. I tell any licensed agents that are interested in hearing about it, I say, until you actually join the company and spend enough time, you're not going to understand it. I could talk about it all day long. It's
Yes.
going to be different for you. Your experience will be your experience based on what your dream is for your real estate career, for your real estate business. My dream is different than your dream. I can bring as a sponsor or a mentor or a coach all my experiences, many decades in the business, and that could help you. Or, we got 88,000 other agents out there. I said, there are so many rock stars. You can learn from them.
Well, and you're right. And everybody comes to this company for a different reason. And we laugh now, but Glenn had talked to me about rev share, and I actually told him I wasn't interested in rev share. Like that wasn't what was important to me. The stock and being an owner and being categorized as Amazon.com of real estate kind of gave me that what if? What if we had all known about Amazon way back when and really believed in it and were involved and invested in it? What could have happened, right? And so I went to Texas A&M, and Texas A&M has a strong, rich tradition and culture there. And we had a saying there that I really believe is just like EXP. And the saying was, from the outside looking in, you can't understand it. And from the inside looking out, you can't explain it. So it's the same thing that you're saying. Until somebody truly joins our company and immerses themselves, it's going to be a different experience, but we're not the ones to explain it to them.
So Texas A&M, that's College Station, right?
It is.
Yeah,
Yes.
I actually had a long-term relationship with someone that was working at the Texas, what's it called? TTA, Texas Transportation. It's a TTA. I mean, they're like the biggest transportation company. But Texas Oil, and not Texas, Chicken Oil. It was
Oh,
that
yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah. Chicken oil.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I know.
absolutely.
Yeah, great hamburgers. So that all being said, yeah, I tell people that EXP has the ability to rewire your brain.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
just the technology. It's not just the business model. So RevShare, I'm guessing that there are people that have come to EXP because of you,
Yes.
and you're their sponsor. I'm
Yes.
just wondering, in terms of how many people have chosen you as their sponsor, what kind of numbers are we talking about, if I can ask?
Sure. I'll give you high level. Like I said, I did not come for that, but people follow people and relationships matter. So when I made this move, people followed me because we all wanted to build this together. And so I've been here 8 years. I've personally brought 72 people on my front line to the company. And we are all in production. I have a ton of icons, a ton of cappers, and we collaborate all the time. And those 72 people have cascaded out, and where it makes me, I'm the sixth largest organization in the company now, which is amazing to me because the impact that I can make on those 72 people, where we're all winning together and loving on my agents and having them cascade that out and duplicate and loving on their people, the 72 people have turned into almost 12,000.
Holy moly!
Just a few.
I mean, I look at the leaderboard all the time, and I probably should have remembered that, but that's an incredible number.
Yeah, it's been it's hard to really grasp your arms around it because Glenn had this vision early on, and he knew all these things would happen. And what's great is that it's allowed me to impact so many lives, and together, it's not me doing anything, it's all of us coming together in the power of this company, and it's allowing us to just I've been able to do some really cool things that have impacted my community and my family,
I'll
and
bet.
others have as well. Yeah.
So I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe about 6 years ago at this point, 7 years ago. I wrote a book, Your $1 Million Year in Real Estate. It was all about the real estate industry. And there were a lot of things about my independent company, Castles Unlimited, and how it was changing things. And I was introduced to EXP when the stock was 19 cents a share.
Yeah.
I was on a Citrix go-to-meeting call with Glenn, where he took us through EXP World, the Sims computer game, whatever. The numbers made no sense. I mean, they made sense, and it was like, you know, if I knew then what I know now, of course I would have bought up every share of stock I could have, because the
Right.
stock went to what, $158 a share or whatever. I mean, it was on a
Hmm.
mad tear yesterday because we're now in the S&P. Uh,
Right.
you know, crazy stuff is going on even as we speak with Luna. I was chatting with our AI bot yesterday. Uh, so let's go back to your rev share, because I've got people. I've recruited 76 people. I'm part of the Game Changers Nation group. That's a pretty big group. I don't know. At the top of our group, there's probably someone that has 6 or 7 thousand agents. That's why I'm shocked that you're 12,000. But I want to break that down because so many agents, they tell me, I'm not interested in the rev share. I just want leads. Give me
Right.
leads. How am I going to get leads? That's the L word over and over and over again. So you weren't interested. People started coming. Did you ever get interested in rev share, or it's just organic? It just happened.
A little bit of both. I was so focused on building my business because, to your point, we're in real estate, and if there's no real estate going on, there's no revenue anyway. So I didn't truly understand it. Coming from the Keller Williams model, I understood high level enough with profit share, but profit share wasn't life changing. And I was usually one of the top in my region. And again, I wasn't a recruiter. I would just talk to people, or they'd come to me. I'm very, very passive, and they'd watch me. People watch you and they see what you're doing. So when I went to EXP, I was super excited about the icon program. And when Glenn spoke to me about that, and I'm the first icon ever named. And so I thought, well, that's awesome. And my business started changing. And so where I was number one at Keller Williams with 650 agents, I was dying on the vine and told my husband I'm getting out of the business. And that's when I was looking to make a change. And I went over to EXP because all of my Atlanta relationships where I'd come from, they had all gone to EXP. That's how I found out about it. And to your point about knowing about it 19 cents, they introduced me when it was 10 cents. So I totally get that. I was like, I didn't listen because the timing wasn't right for me, and that's okay. But once I came over, my first full year at EXP, I was number one out of 2,000. And then my second year, I was number one out of 5,000. And I was like, wow, what is changed? Because I'm still the same person. I'm just in a different environment, and I'm learning from people doing bigger things than me. And so the production piece was really my focus, and the icon was really my focus because that stock is so valuable. Right. And you're going to give me my cap back in stock. Okay. And the stock all did go up, and it split. And so it just really was my focus. The rev share piece was just kind of organically happening at that time. And now I realize I have a responsibility because it is life changing. And I do have a lot of agents that really want to make some changes in their business, and it can be supplemental. So while we're still very much focused on production, and I'm very much still focused on production, I have more choices and opportunities now, so that one day if I don't want to be doing transactions, then I can kind of step out, but it's not going to hurt me, or I'm still on that hamster wheel. So it changed probably about a year ago, where I became a little bit more intentional. But my intention, because I've won the game, right? Glenn has created this incredible platform and company for us, and I've won the game. And so now it's come to, for me, it's no longer really about income, but it's more about impact. So my intentionality has been focused on my agents and helping them build and grow, which if they build and grow, then I still build and grow, but I haven't been focused on my front line as much as I have on everybody else's.
So I have to go over the history and the numbers. So you're in Keller Williams, Atlanta. You come to Austin. Was your sponsor in Austin, or was probably someone from Atlanta?
My sponsor was in Atlanta, and my sponsor for EXP, they're all still the same. They're in Atlanta.
Okay. So needless to say, their downline has more than you. I mean, this has got to be somebody I know. You don't have to mention who it is. But your numbers, let's say the first year, how many people did you attract the first year? And how many people what was the total number in your downline the first 12 months?
So I wish I knew those numbers. I don't track those numbers very well, but approximately when we came over, there were a number of people we wanted to work together, not as a team. I didn't want to be a team, but we wanted to be more of a referral group. So that's the beauty of EXP. There's different kind of team structures that work for entrepreneurs in different ways.
I call it verticals. I have
yeah,
all these
vertical,
different
that's great. Yeah.
verticals.
So
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a mega icon team. I didn't want to be a standard team. I didn't want to be boss, but I wanted more of a referral group. So I have a self-organized team called Lux Property Group.
Okay.
And we're all a production team, but we all work together and we all have our own splits and caps to the company. They don't owe me anything because we're on a different structure on the team. And so with that, I had probably 9 that came over originally. But when I joined the company and I was planning on coming to the company, I decided, it's always important to seek wise counsel. And so I went to my former team leader who had retired from Keller Williams. And I said, I'm about to make this move and I'm okay with taking a risk, but I don't want to impact other people negatively if this is not a good decision. And I don't know what I don't know. I've only been at one company for 10 years. I need your wise counsel and tell me that I'm crazy. Poke holes in this. And he and I worked on it and looked at it and met with people for 5 months. And he said, you know what? I'm bored, uninspired. I don't want to be retired anymore. I want to come out. Let's do this together. That was Gene Frederick. So Gene, I sponsored Gene. And so when Gene and I came to the company together, then all of a sudden we started growing. So the first full year, whatever the numbers for EXP
So if
were,
that's the case, I think I'm in your downline.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you. Well,
I
hello.
think Gene is Game Changers in Gene's downline.
Is that AJ?
AJ.
He is. I think y'all might be all pushed out of my line, but that's okay. We're all family. I don't care who's in whose line. Like everybody at EXP, we're all family, but you're somewhere down there. You might be number 10.
Yeah, in terms of levels below you.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's AJ, John Mikish, Lars.
Yeah. Great group. Great group. I'm really close with Cliff Freeman. And so, but with Gene and I, we just again, it was all relationships. There were only 466 agents. I was 466. So whatever that first growth was in the first year, I don't know, was it 1,000 agents? That was because of the relationships we were all building together. Gene had relationships all over the country because he used to own market centers. But it wasn't easy back then. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, you guys were so lucky. And I'm like, it's not luck. We were putting the tracks in front of the train as fast as the train was going, and we didn't know what we didn't know. So it was actually much harder to attract. And a lot of people that came with us had so much faith, not necessarily in Glenn and EXP, but in the people they were joining. So they had a lot of faith in me. They had a lot of faith in Gene. And with that's a lot of responsibility and stress and pressure, right? So I have to credit a lot of those people for just really trusting the process and building this together. I think now it's easier. We're proven. We've been publicly traded. We're doing things that no other company has ever even considered doing. Everybody else is going backwards. Well, why are we growing and why are we moving forward? Because we're different. And so for entrepreneurs and people that are really truly focused on their business and want to scale and build their business, we're a perfect fit for them. And I think with the markets adjusting and softening like they are a little bit, it's really making people stand up and take notice what alignment is best for them. And that's why I think we're getting a lot of growth.
So your first year was how many agents approximately again? Not much.
I mean, in my front line, I probably brought on, 9 or 10.
Okay. Second year total?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I literally have no idea.
But it was at one point, somebody in your downline was building a huge organization. And that's
Gene and I were building a huge organization. Gene, again, when Gene brought on Rob Flick, that's when I think we really started growing because Rob Flick is right under Gene.
Two.
He's number 1 in the company.
Oh, okay.
Brent's right underneath him.
Okay.
But they're super, super close. But Gene brought on Rob, and then Rob brought on Sheila Fairgeron, and Sheila Fairgeron brought on Brent. Like you all of a sudden start seeing these big builders, and then Cliff Freeman showed up. So the top influencers in the company, the top 5 influencers in the company are all in my downline. It's pretty amazing, right? That we have these amazing builders, but those first few years were critical and we all built together.
Yeah. Okay. So you really have an organic process. I mean, at this point,
I do.
For someone like myself who wants to have the kind of numbers that you have, I have to have a real game plan and business plan. So
yeah, it's a business. I mean, it's a business, but here's what I do. I mean, the reason I stay in production is because that's my attraction. right? I can have easy conversations when people see the numbers I'm putting on the board, or that I'm an icon, or people are watching me all the time. And I've recognized this probably the last year or so. I didn't recognize that because I tell everybody comparison kills joy. It's kind of a reminder for me, because I don't want to, chase the next shiny object. I need to focus on what's authentic to who I am. But what I've realized is people are watching me, and that's my attraction, because we're not a fit for everybody, and not everybody's a fit for us. However, if people are watching me going, hey, Elizabeth, I'm watching your business, I see what you're doing, I want to take my business to the next level, then it's easy for me to have those conversations. And let's go grab coffee. Let me get to know you. I don't I don't talk to people about EXP. I call it EXPing, right?
Right,
I don't
right,
talk
right.
to people about EXP, but I figure out what the pebble in their shoe is. And if there's a pebble that I can help solve because of the company I'm associated with, it's great. So if we go to coffee, I'd be like, Jim, tell me about your business. What's going on in the market? Let me get to know you and build that relationship. And Jean has a different approach. Everybody else has a different approach. I'm much better one-on-one or in a small group, because I want to get to know you and why you might be a fit, or what could be helpful in the business. I mean, like Glenn, nothing against, his approach at all, but he talked to me about rev share because he just assumed, because of what I had done at KW, that rev share was going to be important to me. Right. And I tell him now, okay, I've changed my mind since then. Rev share, it's a game changer.
I
But
bet. Yeah.
everybody, you just have to figure out what's authentic to you and figure out that business plan. And so for me, it's really getting to know people and connecting people and having coffee with them and having lunch. Is that a longer game plan? Absolutely. But that's what works for me. And I don't think there's one way to do this correctly.
Yeah. The funny thing is, you talk about, whatever conversation you had back then with Glenn, and Glenn was talking to, I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 20 people. And he was talking about EXP World mostly. I had received a trifold on the cheapest paper, and it had the rev share schedule on it. And I looked at 3.5%. I go, I've got 60, 70 agents. I'm making 30 to 50% on every sale. You're going to give me 3.5%. It's interesting. And it wasn't until I met people that were making, a $500,000 a year, leveraged, passive, however you want to say it. And I actually saw the numbers and the technology where they can control their whole business off their phone.
Yeah.
Everything started to make a lot more sense. But you're right. He didn't approach it like, I only wish now, maybe, that he knew what he knows now. But
Yeah.
Jim, you could keep your federally registered trademark. We want you to still be Castles Unlimited. Back then it was powered by EXP. Now it's brokered
Right.
by EXP. But all I saw, it was one or two of these very inexpensive $5 signs with little aluminum sticks in the ground with this horrible, the original logo, let's face it, that was pretty
Yeah.
bad. And I just said, no, I can't build a business around that horrible logo. And I just got out of a torturous relationship with another franchisor. But it would have been perfect for me. Is that you can have everything technology wise and a unique business model. I like the and I want to say MLM. I don't like multi-level market. MLM.
Yeah.
But to do it yourself, it's very tough. I give
Well,
you.
it's tough, but it's funny that you mentioned that. You're like the logo, and the logo, first of all, I went to Texas A&M, which is maroon, and I live in Austin, Texas, which is UT, and it's orange. And so there was no way in heck I was going to use that logo with the orange anyway. So that didn't even faze me. What I thought was really cool was, wait, I get to brand myself. I get to lead with myself. And so Lux Property Group, and then the EXP was so super small. Most people thought I had my own brokerage, and really we're leading with our brands, and EXP is just partnering behind us and the platform. So I saw it completely different. But I will also tell you that what I think the turning point for me was when Stefan Swanepoel had his trends report. And I've always admired Stefan Swanepoel. I call him real estate royalty. And he wrote a trends report in 2014 about the different models and the different companies. And the
I
one he
saw
wrote,
him that year, and he
yeah,
was talking about EXP.
Exactly. And he said the one to watch, you don't know about, the one to watch is EXP Realty. It's the Amazon.com of real estate. And when Glenn pushed that across for me, that was like, huh, that's interesting. I was bored and uninspired. I have a huge producer that just joined us, and he's mad at me because I didn't call him 4 years ago. He goes, why didn't you call me 4 years ago? And I was like, because I don't call people. Right. Because that's not my thing. Your business seemed to be going great. I'm not, I'm focused on mine. And what he said was, you took a huge risk. He goes, no wonder you're celebrating your success. You took a huge risk. And I go, no, I see it differently. It was a risk for me not to make a move, right? It was a risk for me to stay where I was, stuck, bored, not growing. And here's the reality. If I made the move and it didn't work, okay, no harm, no foul. I can go back to any other brokerage and they'll take me because they need the numbers and they need the headcount and they need the production. Or I can stay where I am and sit there and wonder. And so for me, the risk was not making a move, but people don't always, they don't operate that way. So it's timing for everybody. It's timing.
And in a way, for me, the years that I was vetting basically EXP and watching it, I was learning doing on my own. I actually, I, I think maybe even my first book, I may not have touched on EXP that much, but I took, you know what I did? I think I took their, no, I didn't. It was more exit. I don't think EXP was really something that was on my radar, but at a certain point it was, and I took the rev share, and for about 3 years, my numbers were doubling year over year with agent attraction using the EXP model. And then it got to a certain point, I thought to myself, okay, I keep growing this. At what point is it too big for me to handle on my own?
Yeah.
And and then it dawned on me one day when I started meeting people who were really in it. I said, if I have 100 years and 100 million, I don't think I'm going to catch them. So it's not all about who's the biggest and who's the fastest. It's like, what do you want for yourself?
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you
It's
want for
fun.
your yeah.
And what can you do and what impact can you make and what legacy do you want to leave? And that's different for all of us. And so I mean, Glenn was brilliant when he recognized the power of ownership, the power of ownership. And that's why when people talk about MLM and all these other things, I'm like, we're just doing what we were doing anywhere else. We're doing real estate. We're selling real estate. Glenn just happens to be taking 50% of the proceeds or the revenue that would be going to all the team leaders and the C level and everybody else up to the top and just redistributing it because we're all winning together. Because when you own something, you just treat it differently, right?
So
There's that saying that they say either build your dream or somebody will hire you to build theirs. All those other models are hiring agents to build their dream, whether it's an independent brokerage, whether it's all the way up to Gary Keller. Like all of us that were at KW made Gary Keller a very wealthy man. Well, we just flipped the switch a little bit. And so it's like now we're building our dream with the help of amazing, brilliant minds like Glenn, who understands because he came from an agent standpoint. And these are the pebbles that he was trying to address. He's like, these are the pain points I have. If I have these pain points, other agents do too. And he's relatable because we all had those same pain points. So he just changed the game.
So Elizabeth, you probably understand the 50-50 initiative. Can you explain what it is?
The revenue share? I mean, the revenue?
Yeah, so I noticed that my rev share is more than the rev share every month.
Right.
8%, 10%, whatever, and it's coming from that initiative. Is that
so? Yeah. So what the agreement was with the company was 50% of the revenue every single month will go to the company dollar, overhead expenses, which is nice because we don't have the overhead that most, right? It goes to staff, it goes to operating expenses, things like that. But the other 50% is going to be divided amongst the agents that have helped grow the company, right? So those people that have rev share or organizations. The interesting thing is only 11% of our company 11% has one agent or more. So it's not that the majority of our company focuses on rev share. The majority of our company focuses on traction. I mean, on production.
Say that number again. 1%, 11%.
11% of the company receives rev share.
Okay.
Because so many people are focused on production.
11% of the agents at EXP
Correct.
So
Correct.
88,000 agents, that would be 9,000 agents out of
Correct.
88,000 approximately. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
So the company takes 50% of the revenue that comes in every single month, and it's paid out in revenue share. Now, you always have to be whole 50% to the company, 50% to the agents. So if there's months where, okay, we're only at 48% of the revenue share, the company makes it whole. And that's why you're getting additional rev share money, because they're making sure they're at the 50-50 split. So it's not like 48-52. They're making sure it's even, because Glenn made an agreement, and that's how it's been structured. Same thing with agent fees and caps and splits and things like that. Glenn has said, I'm never going to do anything that negatively impacts the agents. He will never change the fees. He will never change the splits, because I think a lot of these companies are making those changes because they're having to go to the agents because they need more income. Well, EXP is not going to do that. And so Glenn's always going to make sure we're whole, that 50% are going back out to the agents that are helping grow the company, and 50% is going to the operating expenses of the company.
Okay. And that includes revenue from all the success companies,
all of our partners
in Verbella.
Revenue. So we've got Success Lending, we've got Success Coaching, we've got Verbella, we've got Zoocasa. We have all these other entities underneath EXP World Holdings that, yeah, it all benefits the company, and not only the company, but the agents are winning when the company's winning. Well, everybody seems to think Austin's great. It is great, but yeah, I do a pitch for my group and my team. So if you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or invest in Austin, and you want a great real estate team, my team would love to work with them. It's Lux Property Group, LUXE Property Group, and yeah, we're on Instagram, wherever you need to be, but we love to take care of our clients, and we treat them like they're our one and only.
This was great, Elizabeth. I could have talked to you for another hour. I know you're busy. This is the Exponential Files. I'm Jim Lowenstern, your host. Like us everywhere on social media. And Elizabeth Riley, thank you so much for being my guest today.